and explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Truly fantastic Friday as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. It may be open line until 1:30. You want to know what's going to happen? Well, we want to hear from you. I want you to share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or 949-6990. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Radio Cayman Talk Today.
And thank you very much for joining us. You know, say Fridays are like Mondays. It's just another day ending away if you speak the English language. Like any time, you're told by your parents and grandparents we should make hay while the sun shines. And a friend once said to me, well, what does that mean? Does that mean you can't make hay, while it's raining? Can't make hay at night if it's in the barn? Well, Mr. Real Roberts, how are you? How are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling and Radio Cayman, and I am good. It's Friday, emancipation, celebrations and all that. So it's been hectic. It's been hectic. But I'm happy to be here.
I keep saying, man, if we can be happy in the space in which we are, then we make that space that much better.
There you go. I mean, I think that's the thing. We for me, I'll say that we were scared of getting older, but as you get older, you just kind of accept, and that acceptance gives you happiness. So I'm happy.
It's that prayer we all have heard someone read, probably never internalize. The wisdom to change the things we can.
Yeah, the prayer of serenity, man. It's a serenity prayer.
Somebody says that a prayer of serenity or a prayer of surrender.
No, well, you got to surrender to have serenity.
There you go, man. You must, it's amazing how we sing many hymns, but we never subscribe to its ethos,
True.
Lord, I surrender all.
True. It's not easy, though. It's not easy. It's easy to sing.
I like to see. That's why it's easy for me, because I recognize how hard it is to sing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. But what is it about us? Why is it that we are, as a people, are unwilling to not always be in the driver's seat? We find it challenging to be not only in the passenger seat, but in the back.
I think that we've been given the choice. And so because we give choice, and I think Caribbean people double down on that a bit, so we need to do it our way. So even though it's said one way, we try to find a different way to do things. Like I said to a friend or a colleague the other day while we were talking about Child Month, I said, one of the interesting things is that I've always seen the road, but somehow I was taught how to use a cutlass, so I always turn right or left and go through the bush instead of taking the easier path. Yeah. So
I saw someone print something the other day. Life is something about paths and tough choices, and she said, "You assume I see a path.
Right.
I make my own way."
Right.
Much more eloquently said.
That is true.
The message.
That is true.
But yet, for those who beat their own drums, sail their own catboats, many societies celebrate. Some in this part of the world seems to castigate.
True, and I think being original, being different, should be celebrated. I think we've always liked the masses. You know, if you look at the bell curve, you know, we like those people who fall within that 80%. We don't like the outliers, but it's those people on the outliers that really and truly many times give us our color.
Yeah.
You know, push us. You know, if you and I sat down and talked about when we were younger and the things that were outside the lines that are now accepted, you know, say no more. So I think there's value in those people that are and doing it their way and pushing us to accept things a little differently.
One of the many reasons that almost continually I reflect on the messages that I've, and the music that I heard coming from Radio Cayman. There's a PSA that talked about, you know, being original. And it was in the early years, maybe in my early years as well, but it left an indelible impression in that it's okay to be you. People joke now and say I could be me because everybody else is taken. But being original, and that inspired me. But today, we want to be carbon copies. And I look around and, man, if it was carbon copies of good things, it would be great. But some of the crap that I see, I mean, you can chastise me if I shouldn't say that word, but it's appalling.
Well, I think it's about also acceptance, right? So what has happened in our communities that we've never really encouraged a lot of creativity, and I assume, you know, so I'm not saying, in my opinion, we just haven't really encouraged. We encourage more uniformity. And so as you were growing up, you did as you were supposed to, you know, and if you colored outside that line, you know, it wasn't seen as something special.
Is it uniformity or conformity?
Well, you're conforming to someone else's belief, so that action is conform, but it's uniformity because all of us are looking the same way and doing the same way and expected to perform the same way, you know, but you're conforming sometimes against what you think is right. But I think, and I'll always think that, you know, many of us just need to be able to put our original ideas out there. We are human artists, you know. You never really see artists out there copying each other. They kind of try to find their own little niche, and many times you may like it or not like it, but that's okay too, you know. But
even in that literal sense, artists now sample.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
More and more. And increasingly, they say if you know, take from one person, it's plagiarism. You take from men, it's research. Right? And there's some increasingly in my circle who say this, and they avoid certain things because if they are aware of it, then that can cause them, when they see it, to be at least potential at least to have plagiarized. In that, relatively, you know, is there any new original thoughts anymore?
I think they are. Again, I think it's difficult. It's easier to accept, and I think when you think about how immersed we are as a culture, right? So there's so much great ideas that as soon as they're great today, you know, 3 seconds later we all have access to them through mediums, right? Whereas back in the day, you could come up with an idea and you think it's original. I don't know if there's really original ideas, but you think it's original, and it takes off on this side of the world, but somebody been doing it on the other side of the world forever and a day, you know, but it was original here. Whereas now I think because globally technology has shrunk us, the ability to create new ideas, new original ideas, sounds, that in itself has shrunk. And that's where then I believe it comes back to us being independent, looking within ourselves, being able to kind of go, hey, have we ever thought about doing something a little different, saying something a little different? You know, I remember, you know, even this morning when I was getting up and putting on my shirt to come out, you know, and one of the things personally, it gave me a lot of pride. I remember growing up and it was like everybody else had a shirt. Everybody else had a day. Everybody else got to celebrate a culture. You know what I mean? Like, and so to see us, you know, 10 years later in terms of my age, because I'm just aging, by threes. To see us, in this short time now embracing our culture at the level that we're embracing, and willing to speak about certain things that we were taboo, and I think that is us starting to accept that our differences is unique to us, and that's okay. That's okay.
Well, the scripture shares, that there's nothing new under the sun.
Correct.
And perhaps when we come back from the break, we can share more. Thank you. Many recognize the voice is Mr. Real Roberts, and as we have the discussion after, we invite you to join us. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
This Mother's Day, Digicel wants to take you to brunch. We're giving away brunch vouchers for you and mom to enjoy a delightful feast together. Winning is easy. Simply activate the postpaid Supreme plan or the 30-day Prime Max plan, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't let the chance to treat mom to a special day out slip away. Visit your nearest Digicel store today or hop onto the My Digicel app for your shot at winning. Make this Mother's Day a memorable one with Digicel.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 14th. The surveys seek to collect information needed to answer these questions. How did the economy perform in 2023? In 2023, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to the Acting Director for DCFS, Mr. Real Roberts, for joining us. I enjoyed the initial exchange, and I want to thank you and your team for not only all that you do, but the willingness that you've come, and sometimes, the challenging of our scheduling, but you always, what's today's word? You pivot, you adapt.
Of course, of course.
And for the work now, this is the month of May, and for the longest time, we've been celebrating Child Month in May.
Correct.
And that discussion earlier, it was partly in my mind the notion that you're a counselor, you're trained in that arena, you're acting director now at DCFS, which is very instrumental in impacting the lives of our families.
Correct.
Our children in particular. I heard it said, and make sure I have it, one, correct understanding, but also repeat it correctly. Children live up to what we expect of them.
Correct.
I've broken that down, and if we expect nothing of them, that's what happens.
Right.
We expect the heavens and the earth to move because of their actions, and that they will be, make this such a profound positive impact. That's what they'll probably do.
It's great segue. Thanks again for having us on the department on, because what we do a lot is always challenging change. As you say, May is Children's Month, so we've launched on the 1st. We started our Child Month initiatives, and I'll go through the calendar in a bit, but just to say up front that the title this year is Moving from Challenge to Change. And that's moving our children and moving ourselves when we work with children from challenge to change. Understand that everybody's dealing with challenges, and how do we find solutions that create long-lasting changes. I think it's important that we understand how our words work. Yeah. So you there are many cultures that you kind of come from a certain culture, and you go, oh, when you grow up, you're expected to be a doctor, just from that culture. Yeah. Or you're expected to be a lawyer, just from that culture. Or you're expected to be a blue-collar worker, just from that culture. And you ask yourself, well, what's the difference? Difference is your environment. Difference is, what people around say as to your statement. What is your expectation? What's your initiative? I remember growing up, and you were expected not to be a failure. Period. So there were parents who had certain expectations of them, and if you remember, I mean, Cayman was very, very small back when we were younger, and it didn't matter. You'd have a child. Let's say you have a friend who didn't have that level of structure that was in your house. And you see them on the road, and they were like wild children, right? And they're the ones that you kind of follow into all sorts of wrong places sometimes. But when they came to your house, when they walked through your door, it was, yes, ma'am, no, sir, good morning, good evening. They sit, they knew how, like, there was an expectation, right, that when you walked into Mr. and Mrs. Roberts' house, you acted a certain way. So again, I don't think that our children sometimes don't know the way if we teach them. It's just a matter that we never hold them accountable sometimes to do better, Me and you have spoken about something simple back in the day when you're young, and if you were to go to an establishment that you weren't allowed to go to, and as soon as you crack the door or you walk in, there was an elder there. There was an older person that stopped you and was like, excuse me,
your mom,
why are you here? All that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And that was a community taking accountability. And I know there are different reasons why we, as the elders in our community now, don't stop individuals and stuff. But that change in behavior has created some of the challenges that we see in our community. So again, one of the things that the department is looking to promote throughout this month is, what individually we can change, what can we challenge within ourselves, what can we challenge within our community that can create change for our environment and the children in it.
Is it a Michael Jackson song, Start with the Man in the Mirror? Many people, is it Gandhi, be the change you want to be?
Correct.
We know these things, we say these things, but is it, and I'm deliberately challenging my own ethos. Some people would be shocked if I tell them I'm a quiet, unassuming guy. Just very quiet, reserved. I don't like publicity. You. By nature, and I wasn't.
So am I, actually.
Yeah. I deliberately, consciously question that because people say, "Oh no, you're very outgoing. You are, what's that, extrovert?"
Correct.
And I go, "No, it's not me." And I did a test. No, I'm an introvert. But I've learned how to function in this world.
Correct.
Why I say that is that we, just like your example, where we as young people, and sometimes not even on the age, we at a certain age that we're old enough. The elders took you, guided you, and asked you.
Correct.
Your mama know you're here, so to speak.
Right.
But seemingly, my recollection, the difference between then and now, you alluded to it. One, they guided us. There was no abuse. There was no physical aggression and improper behavior from them to the younger ones.
Correct.
But secondly, there is now this thing where you can't talk, guide, speak, ask, question, nurture, even as a teacher, as another parent, even as a co-worker, even as a family member. And somehow we've kind of screwed that up.
Well, one of the things about that, which I find to be interesting, right, is when we were growing up, we respected one type of person. I'll say it that way. Do you know what that was? You respected your elders.
Your elders. They was all encompassing.
So it didn't matter who the elder was. Once they were older than you, you had to respect and you basically had to follow their guidance, right? And I think one of the changes that happened with us is that we kind of almost we got rid of that, and then we kind of go, well, you respect your mother, or you respect your father, or you may respect the principal, but you don't need to respect that teacher, or you respect the PE teacher, but we started to qualify who we were supposed to respect as opposed to just respect your elders. So when I see a child and I'm trying to impact that child is going to look at me and go, well, who you is to talk to me? Exactly. Like where you was even having conversations with me. Well, where did that come from? That came from an expectation that was put in that only your family can talk to you, or only, certain people can talk to you. When we have certain expectations that were encompassing, like policemen. Right? Yeah. A policeman, once you saw that uniform, there was a level of expectation of compliance that was expected, right? Now it's kind of like, well, I don't respect that type of policeman, or I don't respect this person. I don't, you know what I mean? And I think once we break it down like that, then it makes it difficult for other people to challenge.
As we talk to Real Roberts, through you, can I invite an understanding, for my own edification, it may be beneficial for others. To your point, the teacher, the parent, the police officer, the elders, is it that there was a time when, as a body, they were not only respected, they were respectable. They themselves were respectful. And I'm asking that, part of a study I'm doing now, in that trying to look at things, not just esoteric, not looking at things that may be peculiar to particular nationalities or geographies, but things that I could internalize personally, but maybe extrapolate and apply socially here on the Cayman context. You take your parents, right?
Correct.
Your friends and classmates would be respectable to your parents, but your parents were also respectable to people who were their elders.
Correct.
So we saw that. But today, is it that the person in uniform, whether it's the police officer, whether it's the teacher, whether it's the older person, the elderly person, the elder, are they respectful? Are they respectable? And is it that they're not
I get what you're saying. And we have always known that respect begets respect. Yeah, we have always known if we give it, we're going to get it.
Yeah.
And so the standard, I would say, on both sides have changed. Right, personally. So yeah, there are individuals who kind of shifted the line on the standard of respect in those areas of whether it's parenting, teaching, policing, whatever.
Right.
And our expectation of those standards have changed, right? And so it's not just one thing that has created this, but I think what, for me personally, that bothers me is that we think that it is one area or one person. It's if someone's shouting at you, arguing with you and shouting, and you talk softly, you can watch them as you continue to talk in a soft tone. You watch them de-escalate. You watch them getting softer and softer and softer, and even being upset because now they're frustrated. But it's a simple to me analogy where, again, if I am trying to be nice to you, I'm not saying that the first time I'm nice to you you're gonna repeat that, right? But if I'm consistently putting that good into you, eventually it's going to come back out. As a social worker, I'll give you this example. And I told my colleagues actually recently when we were putting together Child Month activities, I met an individual at 2 o'clock in the morning at a gas station, right? I'm on my way home, individuals at gas station. And one of the things I know the people have impact is when they say Mr. Real. So I'm like, oh gosh. So I heard this Mr. Real, and I turned around and this individual was there. And at first I didn't recognize him, and he says, "You don't recognize me, do you?" And I said, "No." And he then started to talk to me about who he was. And when he started speaking to me, I had known this individual from when he was probably about 10 or 11 years old is when I first met him in the system. And he was to be a failure, And so as he's trying to explain himself to me, I'm trying to figure out, how is he standing in this gas station, right? Yeah. Like I know what I tried to do. I know what I invested in this individual. And I remember, and this was before I'd left to go away to train, and I was like, he isn't going to make it, right? And then he said, "You remember me now?" I said, "Yeah, man, I remember you." And he started to tell me how he's doing, and he took me outside, and he showed me his family. And in his own way, how he was contributing to our community positively, and he was a success. Yeah. And that impacted me because, again, here's an individual that I poured into as a young social worker. Everything around him said he was supposed to be a failure. Everything said he was not supposed to make it. He should have not been in that gas station, so to speak. He should have messed up a lot. And that was a success story, that one of a few that I have, that I've poured in consistently, walked away thinking I had failed, and somewhere in there those memories and thoughts kicked in. So I think when we were working with our children, and we come back to what we started this conversation with about originality, when we were working with children, they're going through a transition, right? So they've been told what to do for a period of time, right? Now they're at this point in time where they want to find their own path. So we kind of start to buck heads, because I'm thinking you should go one way and they're saying no, go next, right? And it's kind of like, I want to do it my way, or I see it differently. And we struggle with breaking that uniformity, that we want them to conform, which is how we started this conversation. But if we can start to nurture them, so in a way, don't give up. Still give them the old knowledge, still give them the old additive, still pump it in there, and they're not going to respond. But after they've gone down the path with the cutlass and cut their own path, many times they'll circle back and realize the paved road is a easier road, it is a better road, and they will remember what you have said. There are things that have been said to me, you, and many people who are listening today as children in churches, in schools, on the side of roads where we were draped up by older people doing what they thought was the wrong thing. That stick with us today, that we repeat today as if it was ours, when we heard it we hated it.
Train up a child in the way he should go.
Correct.
Told we got a break to take. Thank you, Mr. Carl. All right, Will Roberts will remain with someone some chocolate. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
This Mother's Day, Digicel wants to take you to brunch. We're giving away brunch vouchers for you and mom to enjoy a delightful feast together. Winning is easy. Simply activate the postpaid Supreme plan or the 30-day Prime Max plan, and you could be our lucky winner. Don't let the chance to treat mom to a special day out slip away. Visit your nearest Digicel store today or hop onto the My Digicel app for your shot at winning. Make this Mother's Day a memorable one with Digicel.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. Brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And as we talk about Child Month with the acting director over at DCFS, Mr. Real Roberts, I'm hoping that as parents in particular, on the Friday as it is, right, the third day of the month of May,
correct,
that we see how important it is, not just as adults, as the future elders, or in some cases, the elders to the 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're 5 and 15, 30 seems like it's old.
It does.
All right. And in particular, as parents, my question to you, are we lacking? Are we not just lacking in some way? Are we complicit?
Well, I think that we all have a part to play.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, 2024 Child Month theme for that the department and the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development is behind is moving from challenge to change. And as we were discussing earlier off mic, because I wish we could get all our discussions, but we probably take all day. But one of the things that we grew up under is that children should be seen but not heard, right? And I would challenge us now to change that. Yeah, I believe that children should be seen and children should be heard. Youth should be seen, youth should be heard. So that's why when we talk about a challenge to change theme, it's not just the theme itself, because when you think about it, I am challenging people to look at things differently. Our young people, our children, are growing up in a different world than what we grew up in. We cannot apply the same rules to them. And the person who knows the most about this world and can probably give us some ideas and teach us, and then we can direct, is the children, is the youth. So we need to listen to them, and then, we can add our 2 cents or say, have you thought about this, or ask open-ended questions to move them. So when it comes back to your question about parenting and teaching, which is what parenting is, I challenge us to be more open in our parenting and more open in our in our teaching, but by listening. So not how we grew up, and I can say we because I think it was uniform how all of us grew up. So not by how we grew up, which is, you sit in the corner and you listen and you can't say, and even though you had the right idea or you wanted to do something else, you conform to the fact that as a child, that's not your place.
Right.
The world doesn't need that anymore. We spoke about, earlier, how certain things are going on in our communities and why some of us or many of us don't challenge those things that are happening. But the reason they don't challenge is because we've never really been taught as young people, as children, to speak up. When I have friends that were aggressive in their speech, sometimes they used to, make me feel uncomfortable because I wasn't taught to do that. So if I can't speak up for what I think is right, but yet now as an adult you're expecting me to speak up for what I think the island is saying it needs, that's difficult. You don't turn that on and off. But what the children of today have that we didn't have is that they have a voice. I mean, many of them are screaming. Some of them are screaming the wrong things, but they're still screaming, and we're not listening. When I think of some of the negative things that have happened in our communities over the last couple of months, one of the things I said to a colleague, and if anyone's around to me, they know I would have said it. I say, what's impactful is that I bet you if we did a study in the Cayman Islands right now, that the majority of people that we have in prisons or in trouble were identified in schools or the social system and just wasn't given the right intervention tools. And so for me, it's like, how do we change how we work with our children? How do we change how we invest in our children? How do we make sure that the prevention becomes a part of the challenge, so that the long-term changes that, when they're our age, they're sitting down talking about how we turned around what we're seeing now as children.
I wrote down earlier the word failure, right? You see, probably can't read it, but that's the word right there.
Right.
I think that's the word. Yeah. It's supposed to be a word.
You were supposed to be a doctor. That's why I can't read it.
Yeah. Let's go with that. You said failure earlier, okay? And you just said something else. So I want to talk about that in a second.
Sure.
On the premise that perhaps those children that are in prison or elsewhere, you referenced the young gentleman and his family in the gas station, right? Maybe they didn't fail. Maybe we, the society, has and is failing them.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about it now. And then some other things. But as we go to the break, a listener writes, trust we're all doing well. Says, I agree with Mr. Roberts. Proverbs, I think
Wear your glasses. Glasses.
Proverbs 15, 1 states, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger.
Amen.
And I know the proverb. I just want to make sure I knew which one it was. So Proverbs 15:1, he says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, right? But a harsh word stirs up anger. Scripture says, do not discipline in anger.
Correct.
Right? And yet...
can I say something quick? I know you're going to the break, right? But I was watching this individual, and he said on, I can't remember what channel, but he said that he would love for African Americans to start disciplining and leading and parenting their children with love. He says that males in the African community, black community, needed more love. And he says, imagine this. If you have a son and you're about to go discipline that son, right? And if you want to use corporal punishment, that's not a conversation, but I'm just saying, if you take up a belt, for example, to go discipline your son, more than likely your child will start crying before the first strap comes down. And he is interpreting that what that individual child is crying for is because I've hurt my mother, or I've hurt my father, and I've embarrassed and I feel ashamed, but we overlook that and we go straight to the discipline. And he is saying, if we can understand that many times these children come into this world with love and they want to do the best for us, they want to impress us, they want to do, and when they do wrong, if we shower them with love and explanation as to what right is, we probably could get more out of them instead of the harsh reality of discipline that we as Caribbean people normally put out there. Not saying that we shouldn't or it doesn't call for it, but I think you'll find that the discipline of sparing the rod becomes a lot less, because now all of a sudden, we're doing more behind my back. Like I always tell people when they say, well, Mr. Roberts, how did you end up where you are? And I say, because I made a promise to myself years ago when I was, like all of us, we get to that decision-making point as young people, where my mother would never hang her head in shame. Okay? So it doesn't matter if my mother was there or not. I know my behavior had to be such that my mother would never hang her head in shame. And that's love, right? And so I believe that as long as I can challenge this community to look at our children with love, being able to pour love into them, that they will have long-lasting change that may look like me, may look like the individual I talked about in the gas station, or some of the stories that many of our social workers can tell about how just changing the way we approach things can allow us to change the individuals that are going to take over in our society one day.
All right. Well, as you share that, the thing that we all heard, hopefully still repeated, never forget who you for. And that is what you share, and you want to make your parents, proud. You don't want to disappoint them. You want to make sure that you do things to honor them. When we come back, Child Month, the theme, from challenge to change. We'll talk more with Acting Director. Stay tuned.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976 till now.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. Today in court, Anastasio Rankin faced Magistrate Vanessa Allard. Currently detained at His Majesty's Prison Northwood on burglary and robbery charges, Mr. Rankin was informed that while the burglary charge related to the 2023 Everglow incident in Bodentown had been dropped, the robbery charge for the 2023 robbery of the one-stop convenience store case in East End will proceed. He's scheduled to return to court on May the 21st. Turning to regional news, Jamaica's Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has announced the creation of approximately 1,500 new jobs in the tourism sector, coinciding with the launch of 2 new hotels in Western Jamaica. Speaking at the opening of the 2024-2025 sectorial debate in Parliament, Minister Bartlett revealed that these jobs stem from the addition of over 2,000 new hotel rooms this year. The minister also highlighted that 29% of all tourists in Jamaica opted for Airbnb accommodations, a trend that's been reshaping the hospitality industry and empowering local communities. And the Prime Ministers of Canada and Barbados have engaged in discussions addressing the complex political, security, and humanitarian situation in Haiti. In meetings held earlier this week, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley expressed support for Haiti's newly formed Transitional Presidential Council, hopeful that this marks a significant step towards establishing democratic governance in the nation. That's your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
Hinton Roxroy Connolly was born in Creek, Caymanbrac on 9th of September 1937. Fondly known as Big H to his family and friends, both a sailor and electrical technician with 5 years at sea and 29 years with cable and wireless, in January 1960, Big H married Cicely Dilbert of Creek, Caymanbrac and had 5 sons. In October 1976, he was united in his second marriage to Francine Porter of Spot Bay, Caymanbrac, and they had 1 daughter. Big H was a part of the band Eddie and the Beach Boys, and in August 1977 traveled to New York, where he recorded and published his album, A Quick Drink by the Pool Bar. Big H could always be found at the Hilton, his backyard kitchen, which he built in the late 80s to house in yams and cassava he cultivated on the bluff, later converting it into an outdoor kitchen which was named the Las Vegas Hilton. Big H spent the majority of his time at the Hilton, and you would find him playing his guitar and singing his heart out while sipping on his 345 beers. He was known for having many cook-ups with his famous beef and pork. On the evening of Wednesday, 18th September 2019, 9 days after celebrating his 82nd birthday, Hinton passed away peacefully at the Health City Hospital in East End, Grand Cayman. He was the proud father of 6 children, along with 17 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren.
This is Ronnie Anglin. I work in the water sports industry. I'm concerned that our islands are at a high risk of coral bleaching and coral disease outbreaks. Rising sea levels, sea temperatures, and ocean acidification have caused catastrophic increases in the number and severity of coral bleaching events, disease, and death. Snorkeling and diving may one day not be an option. To learn more about climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Mr. Real Roberts and his capacity today to join us as the acting director for DCFS, and talking about, child month. Like when you say children month, I want to read Mr. Roberts something that one of our listeners shared, and again I'll borrow these magnifiers.
Yeah.
Hey, put them on, man. It's at that stage. I don't know if I look, dashing and smashing, but
you look wiser.
I look wiser. I bought a pair the other day, man. I was complimented. I was like, hey, I look good. Respect. Okay, this listener writes, so we struggle to parent. It is either hollering and beating and silencing them, or allowing them to do and say anything. We favor punishment over discipline. Discipline is only manifested through consistency. We should be teaching our children how to speak, not what to say.
100%.
Thank that listener, not just for listening, but for sharing that.
So a lot of what we say when it comes to parenting, you have to remember, you are going to parent initially the way you were parented. Okay, so I like to recall another story in my life where, we grew up, many of us on this island doing, is it called corporal punishment or whatever it was? We got whooped for everything we did and didn't do. I remember one time, before you even say the story, one time I was in a class and at UCF, and we were talking about abuse. And they were just talking about, how, these people beat this person, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, I raised my hand and I said to the prof, I said, I need to say something. And they were like, what do you mean? I go, well, where I come from, because then they didn't even know where Cayman was. But where I come from, if I do wrong, my parents would discipline me. And the lady next to me, LaQuisha, and she goes, sounds like you've been abused all your life. and I say that to say, I remember that was the first time I was forced to look at what was happening to me that we labeled as discipline and try to evaluate whether that was abuse. I don't think my parents abused me. I think that if I didn't get some of those whoopings I got, I wouldn't be the man that is in many fields respected today. But I say all of that to say that, like the listener just said, it is not easy to change the way you parent and the way you discipline from the way that you were parented or you were disciplined. So when my children are pushing the boundaries, and again, that we go back to the early conversation, we want them to be independent. Independence requires them to step outside of what is the norm, which is usually what is comfortable for us. So a child or a young person is going to have conversations that usually make us uncomfortable. And so that's why we shut it down. Yeah. They're doing things that we're not comfortable. If a child is jumping from a couch to another couch, what's wrong with that activity? Well, you might get hurt. Well, there's also the idea that we were told, well, if you fall, then you're going to feel it. So you'll learn from that. So that's not why we're strapping that child. We're strapping that child in many respects because we are uncomfortable with the activity you're doing and it's giving me anxiety. So I need to stop you. I need to silence you. I need to put. So that's how we have learned to parent. Now to change, and like I said, to parent with love is not easy, and I remember trying that with my children, and it's funny because they expect me to be upset. I feel like I want to be upset, but to sit there and go, why would you do that? I don't understand, and try to have that conversation. It's not easy for me, and I'm sure it's not easy for them, but it is something that I have personally put into my life to change how, not because the way I was raised and the time I was raised, I don't think it was wrong. But I believe that nowadays there's another way that I can discipline and teach my children, and I do that. And I would encourage other parents, other individuals out there to kind of go, what is it in my life that affects the children around me, whether it's my personal children or children that are around me, and what behaviors can I change to make a difference, I remember saying to the department, the team, when we were putting Child Month together, that, a social worker, tell me a social worker that doesn't initially start a job in a challenge. That's their life. Their life is, you get a call, you go out, and it's a challenge that they need to figure out. How do I fix? What can I put in to change? And that in itself can also be a challenge. So throughout the month, it's about highlighting that, but encouraging individuals, corporations, governments, everyone to kind of go, let's do some self-introspection. Let's think about how we used to do things and see if in that there's anything that we can change. There are individuals who are challenged in education. And so we've partnered with the Ministry of Youth and putting on some events throughout this month. We've partnered with the Adventists. They're individual people who are challenged in spirituality, religion, church. So we've made that partnership. The Youth Consortium we've also partnered with. So there are individuals that we've partnered with both here as well as in the BRAC to put on a lot of programming this month. But it's for us as a community to understand that the challenge isn't just in one area. The challenge stems across the island. It's in different things. We are challenged when the multi-agency safeguarding hub, which is known as MASH, comes across a bad situation. We're challenged to find housing to put some of those children. Imagine the challenge is whether this situation is bad enough that I can leave you till tomorrow morning because I don't have anywhere to put you right now. So there are a lot of challenges out there when it comes to making the lives of our children better. I mean, as much as things are different, it just seems like the freedom that we had, they don't have. The rules, even though we thought we were full of rules, things just seem a little bit more difficult. And I think that, whether it's the teen forum that we're going to put on, just being able to hear the young people's voices as to what are my challenges, because we probably wouldn't even realize it's a challenge, the fact that, a young person right now many of them can't have this conversation. They go out, they can't have a conversation because society has been built for them not to have socialization type of meetups or initiatives that causes them to be able to learn how to talk and express themselves. But we have that expectation. So how do we pull that out of them? How do we get them to socialize? How do we get them to start being what is truly Caymanian, which is taking care of each other and knowing each other? Yeah, we have to figure a way to evolve as a culture through our children, to set the stage for what our future is going to look like.
And as I listen to you, I'm wondering if we challenge what we thought was not only the interpretation but the application of that. The scripture talks about spare the rod, spoil the child. Is it that, as we have done, that rod is that thing that is used to discipline? And the rod, like a shepherd, is the guide. The discipline isn't, in my view, that hidden in the thing that we thought it was.
All right, let's dig into this. All right.
Yeah.
So again, when we talk about challenge, we challenge it by looking at it through different views, right? So we have been raised, like you just said, you spare the rod and spoil the child. We've looked at the rod from a shepherd, right? Mm-hmm. If you were to dig into how a shepherd guides its sheep, right? Mm-hmm. The rod is the last initiative. A shepherd will guide his sheep through voice, through communication, through words. Mm-hmm. And so I would challenge you to say that the rod that is being referred to doesn't always have to be the stick that was in the shepherd's hand. The rod is the word. So do not spare your words.
Right.
Do not spare your communication and spoil the child.
Okay.
And that then gives us a whole different context on that same.
Because the scripture says, life and death is in the tongue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me then ask. Many of us think that the rod is, the stick. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you remind us that it's probably isn't only, if it is.
Correct.
But we also think that a rod means to hit, to beat, to do.
Correct.
What if the rod was actually like guardrails? You extended the rod out and you brought it not to hit, but to guide.
Correct.
Right? Not to do any other than provide this barrier. Okay, you little sheepy, you getting close to
and
the
that's
edge.
what shepherding is.
Yeah. Right?
That's what shepherding
but
is.
we have taken that. Your example about the child jumping on the sofa or the bed. Me, I would join the child.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go bunk something down on the sofa.
Mm-hmm.
Eh?
Mm-hmm.
And not to harm anybody, not to destroy anything, but how do you get to a space where you created that environment, right? And we parent how we were parent.
Mm-hmm.
Are we now looking at it? And you said something about embarrassing. It was once, I think a comedian. Isn't it weird? We get more information, better instruction from stand-up comics than we get from the news.
Because they don't have the limitations to tell you the truth.
Right? Children, they say, don't embarrass you. They just often repeat what you shouldn't have said in the first place.
Correct.
Right? So how are we, the adult, setting the tone, the example, ensuring that consistency and that messaging, that discipline that we want in the child is exhibited in us, for example?
Sorry.
We had a call, but you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it starts with us making a commitment that this is the way we want to parent, or this is the way we want. It not only saying to our children, this is the expectation of our children, but as adults, this is the expectation of us,
by example.
This is what we want to do. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but why is it that the child has to do all the changes? Why is it that we can also change to impact that child versus the child always having to change in a world that they're already having to change to be impactful?
Indeed. We're speaking to Real Roberts. I believe there's a call online. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Welcome, man. How are you today?
Okay.
All right. Thanks very much for listening, and whenever you get a chance, we're making a call.
Okay, and good afternoon to Mr. Roberts.
Good afternoon, sir.
What department you work in, sir?
Department of Children and Family Services.
Okay. So you're helping to guide the children in the right direction.
Well, at the department, we are tasked by law to be in charge of children in the Cayman Islands. We're governed by the Children's Act. And so we are responsible for basically children whenever children find themselves in any negative situation. Usually the department deals with it. So we help with that. Adoptions, foster care, child endangerment issues, all that comes through our department.
Okay. Well, I had an experience with social services, I say they call it then.
Correct.
And it wasn't nice. First, they gave me two women to work with me and my children. And it wasn't nice. And I asked for a change. They gave me one gentleman. And it worked out a lot better. And the way I was treated and the untruthful things that were said about me could have made me lose my children and my freedom. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing. I mean, I apologize that that's the experience that you've had at the department, and I'm actually quite happy that you were able in the end to get a social worker that was able to connect and understand your situation, and it seemed like the outcome was favorable. But one of the things I'll say about the work that we do in social workers in general is that, you know, we're few for the many issues that are out there. And one of the things that we need to understand also is that many times it's a relationship issue, you know, so like, you know, how you see me or how you approach me and it is how you're going to be able to respond and get something out of an individual. So I apologize that was the experience, but I know that social workers in general in the Cayman Islands and around the world, I mean, the profession in general is a caring profession. We're here to take care of. It's not an easy profession. Many times you're trying to take little crumbs and make judgment calls and trying to make sure that especially children are placed in a positive situation. And our thing is to get it right in the end, you know, to make sure we get it right in the end. And I feel like that individual, whatever they've gone through, one of the things that seemed to have happened is that eventually they got the right social work and the department got it right in the end.
Which is crucial. We do have another caller. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
And to you. How's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. Well, I'm thankful, to be honest. But no, I want to focus on a particular area, which is adults who are also people's children.
We are all somebody's child, right?
Yeah, all someone's child, and they grow up. I've been noticing something in Cayman, and you got some good people from in Mr. Roberts area, and other areas, but something is wrong, man. Something is wrong. They need to get something going on here for some of these adults. I mean, you can't just. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to brag and boast about myself, but if I can take and help a homeless person with some clothes, I do it. If I can take my barber machines and cut their hair, I cut their hair. It's not my responsibility but I believe in doing whatever I can whenever I can.
Correct.
But we need to focus on, to be quite honest, we need to focus on our people here. You can't just, I mean, to be honest, you got our own. I sit down, I talk to them and try to encourage them. Our own people that is in bad condition, that we can't just leave them like that, man. Not only if they're using whatever else it is, still have a little bit of care. And people need to go and carry them clothes. Our community, like what they used to do in the olden days, go and carry some clothes for the man, for these people or something like that, instead of leaving them to walk around with dirty clothes on. I mean, we can't have this kind of display in Cayman. So I'm asking, I don't know who to ask, but I something got to be done. We can't just have this kind of display in Cayman where the tourists and everybody in Cayman see that we say who that child, who that person belong to. That's so and so son. That's so and so daughter. And I mean, even if they have a little, even if they have a little drug problem, and they're not changing their clothes, try to do some kind of little thing. Have as much patience as they can have with these people. Carry some clothes for them. Get them a change of clothes if they're homeless. Make them look a little bit better. And if they don't want to comb their hair or whatever else it is, try to convince them to cut their hair or something. They used to ask me, certain people used to ask me to cut mentally ill people hair, and I decided that I would cut their hair. I had the barber machines, and I know how to do a little barbering, because if certain we know that it's a lot of barbers that not going to make certain people sit down in their chair with dirty clothes and smelling bad.
Correct.
We know that, so we got to do something about this thing. There's still somebody children. There's still someone children, even though they're adults. We need to do something about our people here in Cayman, sir.
And I agree with you, and I know that what I can say is that the Ministry of Innovation, Investment, Social Development, which is being led by now the acting premier, they looked at adult safeguarding issues. There's an active group of people that are looking at legislation around that and being able to assist and help people. We also have the mental health and substance abuse acts that are under a different ministry that are also being looked into. But I think one of the things that we also have to bear in mind, and I agree with you that we need to take care of individuals as best as possible, is understanding that each individual has the ability of free will, and as much as we may see it a certain way, we can't imprison people because of the choices that we think that they make. And I think that something that needs to be addressed is basically adult guardianship, and understand guardianship, and being able to know if an individual an adult has the ability to make those right decisions for themselves, and how do we go about being able to make that decision for them. So if I ask someone to go get their hair cut and they say no, that's pretty much the end of my conversation, unless they're doing something illegal. So I think just having the safeguarding adult legislation that's being worked on currently, and as I said, I know it's a passion for the premier, the acting premier at the time, having that legislation be brought up, having that legislation completed, will start to address some of the issues in terms of safeguarding some of our vulnerable adults in this community. Because yes, I agree, they're children.
The deputy premier, he's a good man. He's a good man. I've been watching him. He's a very good man.
Correct.
And he knows what he's doing. Quite a few of them know what they're doing, but there's some little areas that need to be focused on. Thank God that they're working on that. I mean, if we as people, we got to look into it. You can have a financial problem. You can lose your home, and you can go mentally ill. Are people going to just leave you alone? Are your friends going to betray you and turn their back on you and leave you to just walk the street and go crazy and all that and keep yourself bad. We need to focus on our people and spend time and stuff like that with our people, because a lot of people have different problems. So thank God for that's happening. And I congratulate the minister and also Mr. Roberts and all these people for doing what they're doing.
You're most welcome, man.
It can happen to I mean, it's still going to happen to a lot more people in the future. That's just the reality.
Appreciate your compassion and humanity, and I think you remind us, there, but the grace of God go I. Hey, thank you very much, man. All the best to you, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. He always makes, some salient points.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes when I hear people share something, it's a sobering reminder that we need to listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need to listen. Mm-hmm. There's always something good if we pay attention.
And that's the key, right? And we spoke about that even with our children. As I said, one of the keys is for us to listen and listen to each other, and as he was also speaking, talk, because we still are very prideful. So there are people who are suffering that only you know about, that I don't know about in this capacity, or the government doesn't know about, because, we're like, I can't carry myself to that level. But sometimes it's not by choice. I remember when I was training to be a psychotherapist, my teacher at the time said to me, go ahead and understand mental health. So do your training in mental health, because that is the worst the body will break naturally. And once you can understand that, you can have empathy. And on the other hand, do a training in substance abuse, because that's the worst the body will break, because we've made a choice to put something in it that creates distress within the body. And so I think many people, nobody starts out to be in the state that they're in that he's describing, but it's about us hearing about it. It's about us having the empathy. I think that when it comes to the government and the people and the community itself, we all are balancing different things. And it's kind of like, we could spend the entire budget on human services, as, me and some other people might like, but then we're, driving in potholes, or there's no tourism coming in. So I think it's about what is the right balance. And for me, just the fact that we currently in the ministry, they're addressing it. As the deputy premier has it as a priority, human services, and it's going to take some time to move the needle on all things. I mean, I know they've already addressed some of the issues with the needs assessment unit. So with the new policies that were rolled out, I know that will impact some of the individual children that we're talking about. So again, if you don't know, you can go to the NAU website and get some of that new information. As I said, they're addressing the adult safeguarding. They're looking into that act, as well as the Children's Act and Adoption Act that they're looking to repeal and replace some of those acts. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the space, social development space, in terms of helping the Caymanians in this community. But it's about addressing it appropriately, addressing it correctly, one step at a time. And I know the ministry is taking that up. And as I said, as the department, we're just continuing to lead in child advocacy and making sure that the month of May is at the forefront of everyone's mind when it comes to children, our future, what we want to see when we're in the rocking chair. And, as I said initially, just challenging everyone to change how they see or what they think when it comes to our children.
Thanks very much. And as you share it, and as a call of prayer, the lyrics of Third World, how can we let our children die?
Yes.
And that's what's happening. And perhaps it isn't so much legislation as it is a societal ethos.
Mm-hmm.
How do we step up, be our brother's keeper? How do we stand in the gap? Too many times, we point fingers without accepting accountability for ourselves. Always a pleasure, Mr. Roberts.
Always a pleasure coming here and chatting with you, sir.
All right. I invite you to have an excellent weekend.
You too. And I invite everybody to go and find the Child Month calendar and participate in some way, please.
Yes, and we're honored to be able to have you and your colleagues, throughout the month.
Correct. We're on again.
Frequently. So looking forward to that conversation.
All right. Thank you very much, Dwayne.
All right. To our listeners, join us after the break. We got another piece in store for you as we invite you to be a part of our discussion.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Do you have a chronic illness? Are you a parent or guardian of a child with special health needs? Can you access healthcare services easily? We want to hear from you. From May 1st to May 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will be undertaking a public consultation to help inform Cayman's new National Health Strategy. Tell us about your experiences with healthcare across all 3 islands by emailing mohfeedback@gov.ky or by logging on to gov.ky/health-wellness and complete the survey.
Cayman, get ready for an adrenaline-fueled event like no other. Round 2 of the 2024 Seaward National Tour, Sunday, May 5th at South Sound Dock. Watch as Cayman's top riders push their jet skis to the limits. JJ McLean, Klein Glidden, Brandon Elliott, and so many others. Family-friendly atmosphere, free admission, food trucks, and non-stop entertainment. Feel the vibe and ride the wave with the Cayman Islands Watercraft Association. Round 2 of the 2024 Seaward National Tour, Sunday, May 5th, South Sound Dock, starting at 11 a.m. Proudly sponsored by Car City, Cayman Islands Coast Guard, Cayman Islands Fire Service, Pepsi, Fast Signs, J&M Equipment, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage, Party Animals, Seabreeze Charters and Jet Ski Rentals, Verdant Isle Farm, Health City Cayman Islands, National Logistics, Onshore IT, Ministry of Tourism and Ports, Radio Cayman, and Breeze FM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And the honor, the pride, the love and respect that I have for our civil service makes me want to be even a greater public servant. And in whatever capacity, to just give and to give and to give, because the benefit is akin to, being part of this big family that decides, we're going to celebrate, and everybody's going to prepare his or her favorite dish, and you bring it with all the love, and you bring enough and then some. And that's how I feel, man. So thank you so much. I welcome each of you. I welcome every opportunity to sit and facilitate. So, Ms. Barnes, I struggle at times. So, Miss, I got to say it one more time to get it right. Not that I don't know with whom I speak. Tunisia, right? I publicly apologize because I know I said your name in so many ways.
And I answer to all of them. I think that's the worst part. Like, I don't even correct people. I'm just like, yeah.
But we do that. That's part of who we are, right? You can call somebody George, and she'll look at you and go, okay. As long as you're not malicious, you're not trying to be malevolent, you're not doing it to be demeaning, you just don't know. But it's important to know. So this is Miss Tunisia Barnes. Yes. You today, as you were, however long ago it was, a seeing a wonderful person.
Thank you so much. Because we've only known each other for a very short time.
Yes, it's only been a day or two. But if you would allow me, stop me in a second, because as we celebrate our people, as we interact, I'm drawing from Rail's comments earlier. This is Child Month, and as the caller who ended that segment said, but we are all somebody's child. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And for those of us, for whom we have parents in their 80s or 90s, still with us, thank God, they still call and check on us.
Yes.
All right? That's nice. That's who we are. And you have that loving, caring, indomitable spirit. You stand in the gap.
Oh, thank you. And you're all part of the village, like you said. We're all somebody's child, and the older people growing up, we call them auntie and uncle, even if they weren't related to us. So it's that level of respect. So we're all part of the Cayman village. And
they were respected because they were respectable, and you saw that name. So as we get into the discussion, maybe to our youth or to our elders, I'm not sure. Miss Teresa, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Sterling. How are you?
I am awesome. And even if I wasn't, I know I should be, I would be, because I'm in a company of great people. And it motivates. Iron sharpens iron. That saying that every, well, floating tide raises all ships. That's the Cayman. That's what I want us to come together. Yes. And I'm seeing that pride more and more from all of us, whether we've only been here a day or we've been here a decade or we've been here for generations. So, Ms. Barnes, we start with you. Why are we here? What's going on?
Well, today's are the 3-4-5 day. So we started with our Emancipation Day activities with the 3-4-5 day, and we've had people who've been tagging us. We see a lot of people in the government admin building wearing their Caymanian pride as well as their colors. So we're so happy to see them. We're so enthusiastic because, this initiative has been accepted by the community. I can't wait till we do it next year.
Yes, the response has been overwhelming from the community. There are so many people who have just taken this initiative and run with it, and we're so pleased to see that.
Yeah, it's something that speaks to that ethos, and to watch all of us celebrate. I will stand in it, and if it's incorrect, I wouldn't mind being put on the right path. But I say, just from a socially conscious ethos, all of us need to unite. That word unity has been in my spirit for the last 2+ years, and well, more, but only then feeling courageous and say, we come together, we celebrate, we break bread, we fellowship, we stand in the gap to, be our brother's keeper. 3-4-5 day, man.
3-4-5 day, yeah. So that's the beginning. Yeah. Sundays, we're going to go to Emsley Church at 4 o'clock, and we invite everyone from the community to come on out. We're having a special church service. The Ministers Association will be leading that. On Monday, that's the big fun day. That's from 1 until 8 p.m. in Georgetown.
And we have to give a special shout out and thanks to the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism and Ports. This Monday is a joint initiative between our ministry and his, and we're going to have some Hogstye Bay activities happening there. So we know that people are very fond of Hogstye Bay. So come out and enjoy the day. It's a great day to come and have fun and just get to know everyone, and it's a great time. And the museum is also going to be having a slavery exhibition. So it's awesome time to come out and learn about Cayman's history as it relates to slavery and emancipation. As we know, we haven't celebrated it for 62 years. It's not a topic that we've been talking about for a long time. So there's a lot of gaps there, I think, from people. So just come out and enjoy the festivities.
And I think what it highlights, stemming from our last discussion, this notion that there's a lot that we don't know about a lot of things. Yes. And the more we learn, realize, geez, there's so much more we don't know. We only know what we know. But we also need to ensure that it's not redefined. It's not sanitized in a way, or it's presented in such a way that it causes people to, if I can say, I wrote it down and I thought to the guy when he said, are we de-Caymanizing Cayman? And I thought, in that conversation, so one day hopefully he'll come on, because his age alone commands respect. But are we doing all and enough, Mr. Nisha?
Well, we're starting. So I often tell people that Cayman has a great oral history where we tell stories from one generation to the next. But we've not been really good at documenting this. So if you even think about, your favorite grandmother's recipe, you watched her in the kitchen, she kind of eyeballed it. But when you asked her, well, how many cups is that, or how many spoons of this or that, she didn't know.
She said this much this,
a pinch of this, or you'll know it when you see it. Yeah. So, and those of us who grew up in a different time, we're like, well, we need an exact measurement. So again, we've not done really well documenting it and passing on to other generations. So what our ministry has been doing over the course of 2 years is really exploring what is the Caymanian identity. Earlier this year, people would have seen the national dish, dance, dress, dessert. What else?
What's
is
the
there?
50?
I
So
can't
it's
remember.
dish, dance, dress, dessert, and dream? No, sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So again, how do we document that for future generations that they know exactly what it is?
Yeah.
So we've been doing that. And then this is part of it as well. And we allowed the information and the data to speak to us, and we followed that. So when it comes concern is like people saying, well, why is it May instead of August? Because the data spoke to me. It told us that Cayman, and that's something for us to be really proud of, that Cayman was among the first, if not the first Caribbean jurisdiction to obtain our absolute and unconditional freedom. Yeah. Whereas everybody else went through several years of apprenticeship, Cayman did not do that. We only did it for 9 months. So that is in itself is a reason for us to celebrate that this is part of our culture and who we are. Yeah. And for people who know me, they know, in a former life, I was a teacher for a lot of years. And so when I sit down with everyone on the team, I say, what are the themes that we want people to learn? Because to your point, it is a lot. We are on a journey of discovery. And sometimes it could be a lot of information out there, kind of overwhelming. So this year we decided to just, basically stick to 3 to 4 points, First of all, recognizing that we did have slaves in Cayman, because a lot of people, when you speak to them, they say, Cayman never had slaves. But again, the data, the information, and history speaks that we did have slaves. And at the time of emancipation, we had 985 slaves. And then, secondly, discussing, the May date instead of August, and introducing one of the main characters around our freedom, which is Long Celia. So once we take those this year and the theme, which is Year of the Return, we're reintroducing it to Cayman. And the idea is that each year we'll take another theme around Emancipation Day and explore that a little bit more as we go through as a community and discover this as well.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we invite people to stay tuned.
All right.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Do you have a chronic illness? Are you a parent or guardian of a child with special health needs? Can you access healthcare services easily? We want to hear from you. From May 1st to May 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will be undertaking a public consultation to help inform Cayman's new National Health Strategy. Tell us about your experiences with healthcare across all 3 islands by emailing mohfeedback@gov.ky or by logging on to gov.ky/health-wellness and complete the survey.
Cayman, get ready for an adrenaline-fueled event like no other. Round 2 of the 2024 Seaward National Tour, Sunday, May 5th at South Sound Dock. Watch as Cayman's top riders push their jet skis to the limits. JJ McLean, Klein Glidden, Brandon Elliott, and so many others. Family-friendly atmosphere, free admission, food trucks, and non-stop entertainment. Feel the vibe and ride the wave with the Cayman Islands Watercraft Association. Round 2 of the 2024 Seaward National Tour, Sunday, May 5th, South Sound Dock, starting at 11 a.m. Proudly sponsored by Car City, Cayman Islands Coast Guard, Cayman Islands Fire Service, Pepsi, Fast Signs, J&M Equipment, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Heritage, Party Animals, Seabreeze Charters and Jet Ski Rentals, Verdant Isle Farms, Health City Cayman Islands, National Logistics, Onshore IT, Ministry of Tourism and Ports, Radio Cayman, and Breeze FM.
The Passport and Corporate Services Office is advising travelers to check their passports to ensure all is in order ahead of summer holiday travels. Travelers should check their passport validity, verify entry requirements for the destination, and apply for or renew passports and visas early. For more information, call 345-649-7678 or email passportandcorporate@gov.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Mr. Nisha and Mr. Yusuf for joining us. And as we look at not just the celebrations, as you take us through, I'm mindful of what you shared, that our historical record sometimes isn't accessed by many of us, isn't in our minds as accessible as it should be. But even when it is, well, we don't look at it and question, or we don't verify, or we don't champion. And with, abolition of slavery, and immediately, unconditionally, it is applied to all who are here. Unlike the 8 years of apprenticeship, some would substitute the words, indentured servitude, right? Of 8 years, we had it immediate. But I also, in discussion with, many of my elders who've said, if you fast forward, a few decades on, the women of that era were championing for their right to vote. And they got it not long after the women of the U.S. A population of a few thousand in the Caymans versus tens of millions in the U.S. And you see that sort of resolve, that resilience, the tenacity. Some use the word temerity as if it's a bad word. That is who we are. So take us through your upcoming events. I know your time is, like many, pressured, but like much now, very pressured. So tell us what's coming on.
Well, as Teresa was saying, we have the Monday, which is the Emancipation Hawk's Bay Day, which is going to be really amazing. It starts at 1 o'clock until 8 o'clock. We have so many different activities planned, ranging from, we've liaised with the Port Authority to close off the Hawkesbury Bay area. We're inviting everyone to come out and jump there. So Minister Brian will be taking part of that. That's his initiative. So we're glad that he's partnered with us. We have the different districts coming into town as well, celebrating their uniqueness, as well as selling, Cayman food. Because what is an event without Cayman food, We love it. Turtle, conch, Wilkes, all of the above. There's going to be there as well.
All about food.
All of it, right? We have face painting for the kids. We have, as well as Swanky is going to be performing that night as well. So there's a lot of different activities. As Teresa also said, the museum's going to be open. They're busy preparing a special exhibit that's going to open on the Monday, and it's free to the public to attend. So we invite people to also pop in there if they're in town as well. On the Tuesday, we're going to...
you forgot a very important part, the end of the night.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
For Monday night, I mean...
Yes, the part that you've been working so hard on.
I think that's why I forgot it. I'm like blocking it out.
No pressure, Graham.
No pressure at all. So Monday night, we have a special treat. We have a drone show followed by fireworks by Lord Graham. And so that's going to be really
amazing.
exciting. It's going to be really exciting.
I've seen the proofs. I'm like, wow, it's going to be amazing.
If anyone has ever seen those drones, I mean, the first time I saw it here, I was driving home. I go, oh no, we've been invaded. I came up over the bridge. I looked to my right, and there was stuff in the sky.
Yeah.
There's a word for that. Fear.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we don't scare anyone on Monday night, and we invite everyone to come out town and enjoy that. So that's going to be very exciting. On Tuesday, we head to the Governor's Beach, and we're going to release a turtle who has now been named Long Celia.
Yes.
And she is 62 pounds, and we're going to release her. So that's an exciting event, and that is taking place at 9 o'clock in the morning at the Governor's Beach. Wednesday, we're going to go to the first capital of the Cayman Islands, Bordentown, to the slave wall that's located there. We're going to put a plaque down. And again, we invite people to come and be a part of that as well, because the slave walls do tell a story of Cayman. And they're obviously, they're called the slave wall because they were built by slaves. And so we have a couple of them left throughout the island. So that's one of the locations that we've identified that we're going to put a plaque down. I think Thursday we're okay. Friday, nothing. And then Saturday we head to the BRAC for a special church service there as well, because, we can't leave out our sister islands as well.
And a Heritage Day.
And a Heritage Day, yes.
And this is where the more we start to understand, the more we make it authentic, the more we celebrate and appreciate. We have this history that we talk about, the sightings from the 1500s, but historical record go back much earlier. And our practices are some that have been emulated across the Caribbean. So, Mr. Risa, this is a fun time, an exciting time.
Yes.
A time to be Caymanian proud.
Yes, it's definitely a history-making moment. I mean, the return of Emancipation Day after 62 years, it's incredible. It's an opportunity for us to truly acknowledge our authentic history and heritage in who we is and where we from.
Yeah. Who you is it?
Yeah. It's part of our DNA.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's good to see people starting to not just celebrate and recognize, but be proud, and not to allow others to chastise you for your colloquialisms, not to relegate you for the margins because you have a particular mantra. Nah, this is good. And this is why, like your colleagues, the two you were able to represent, it makes us really, really proud. I'm honored, man. I wanted to sit here in this chair and facilitate for as long as I'm allowed to.
Thank you.
Let's see what happens.
And we're glad to come here as well.
Yes.
All right. Well, let us know how we can. And I'm hoping that, like with the dawning of our merchandise, that this will just be another continuing endeavor. And it goes across all of us. If we are in Cayman, where our bread is buttered, maybe our heads will, lay at night, that we take, initial responsibility to make it a safe, wonderful place. Right?
Of course.
There we go. Well, any closing thoughts, Ms. Cole and then Ms. Barnes?
Yes, we just want to reiterate that Emancipation Day is Monday, May 6th. However, we have activities starting from Sunday, and we hope to see the public out there. This is truly an event not to miss, and it's all about celebrating our freedom.
All right. Freedom.
Yes. And I would, again, invite the public to at least attend one. If you're not able to attend all of the events, at least attend one. So come on out. It's celebrate, as Teresa said, celebrate our freedom, celebrate the uniqueness of being Caymanian, celebrate the Cayman Islands. So we have been busy working behind the scenes, and we're just excited to share this with everyone. So come on out. It's Monday's going to be amazing, every single thing. So like 3, 4, 5 day, everything. So we're just excited about all the events.
I like it, man. I like it. And thank you for being the champions. And perhaps as a country, we start to celebrate, appreciate, recognize, value, respect, and above all, invite others to be included. So thanks very much.
Thank you for having us.
3, 4, 5 day.
Yes.
All right. We'll pause and take a break, and when we come back, it'll be open line. So stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
Good afternoon. With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. Cayman Connections is calling for nominations for the 2024 Making Wave Award, a tribute to Caymanians who are making a global impact. Recognize their contributions by nominating a deserving person at CaymanConnection.org. and you can find out more information through their social media channels. In regional news, in Haiti, Cap Haitian has been struck by severe weather causing floods and landslides with at least 12 fatalities. The Municipal Commission offers condolences and is urging vigilance. Rescue and support efforts are ongoing for the affected community. In Guyana, the Guyana Revenue Authority has alleged that ExxonMobil Guyana and Ramps Logistics made false declarations overstating the value of oil equipment and supplies. Following a discrepancy noted in November 2023, ExxonMobil has been charged with Custom Acts violations, although they attribute the error to a currency misstatement. That's your latest headlines. I'm Jevy Ebanks.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News. How would you describe Siwasen?
A language, history, and culture.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks to Mr. Lucia and Mr. Teresa for joining us. And I say this with the greatest of love, respect, and pride. We have a fantastic civil service, and no matter the challenges, no matter how things are changing, that commitment to serve your country in the civil society, in that sector, where sometimes you recognize that skill set can command greater earnings elsewhere, but they do it to the betterment of the society. So thank them all. We have a call. Let's take the phones and answer it. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing? All is well?
All is well.
Are you hearing me loud and clear?
We're hearing you almost perfectly. A little bit distortion, but we're hearing you well.
Okay, I just stopped on the side of the road here. Mr. Sterling, a very quick question for you. Do you know, or can you give me a last update on her dump?
What are you hearing, and what is it you're seeking to know?
No, why I'm asking, I just came from up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an awful condition. Very, very awful condition. And my heart goes out to those individuals who works up there. As I say, up there, the little hill, as we call it. My heart goes out to them, really and truly. We're getting into the dry season right now. The dust is unbelievable. And I went to the top to take out some garbage, some trees and bushes, as I would probably say.
Mm-hmm.
And the condition there with all the trucks that arrived. I mean, if you do not have something to cover your face or cover your nose or whatever the case may be, it is really detrimental. I think it is. The smell, it is just awful. I really and truly, I don't know what more to say in regard to that, or what other word to call it, because I know they have some of the containers down below where people can go and put their garbage or dump it into that container. Then it takes it up to the higher level.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that the dump need to be organized a little bit better for everyone, and especially for those who works there. I think it's a health hazard. I think it is. And to see the condition as what it is right now, and the wind is blowing, the dust is blowing up in the air, and we're pretty much right in the center of Georgetown. Can
Mm-hmm.
you imagine all that is being dropped, where all of these things are being dropped on our cars, blowing into our business places, and it is awful. Really and truly, I would really need to find out, or exactly how long more are we going to deal with this matter.
Okay.
I know we've been trying to get it resolved for quite some time, but really and truly, as I said, most importantly, those people who works up there, my heart really goes out to them, because I'm not certain how they're going through, or how they're putting up with it.
Now, what would you suggest we either could do, or at least consider doing, to alleviate some of those concerns, to fix it, to address it, to make it better?
I mean, as I said, I think it just needs to be organized better. I think they need to have to, and not only that, the road going up there, it's another situation by itself. I would think that throughout the years, having the dump where it's at, I think you would have a good enough road that would be able to drive up there and do exactly what we need to do. But I think it just needs more organization. Need to be organized much better than it is at this point.
Okay, and I'm hearing you. Now, we are increasingly looking at much that is happening, and sometimes as a public, we either don't think we have timely, accurate, sufficient information, or sometimes when we do have something, it is not exactly, taken on board. So, do you think that's the case, that we don't know exactly what the plan is, and we don't know exactly where we're going and how we're going to get there?
I think that's pretty much it. I think we need to know exactly where we're at in regard to the dam. I think the government need to come on the radio and tell us exactly what's the situation, and how long more, how longer are we going to deal with this matter? Right here in the center of Georgetown. And I know the situation over the years that nobody else wants it in their district, but there's something got to be done ASAP. It is, as I said, it's an awful situation, very, very awful. And what I would love to do, what I would love to see is our politician drive up there like right now. That's what I would want to see. That I would love to see that happen. Yeah. And tell me then tell me how comfortable they were. I want them to open up their car windows and tell me exactly how comfortable they were. They would be, or they would have been. That they're taking a drive up at your dump.
Yeah. Your invitation, for the politicians and for the government, whomever to come on board. To what extent, though, do you think that if they did that whatever they're saying, that the public is sufficiently either concerned or informed, that they'll be able to critique what is, oh, yep, they're telling the truth. No, that's not really exactly how it goes. I mean, how much of what is there that we are able to honestly evaluate, assess, analyze, and be able to determine whether it's true or not?
Well, I understand you very well, Mr. Sterling. In regard to that question there, is that I guess they would have to do it, and then you would hear the reply from the public. Because I think pretty much everybody who has been up there would pretty much agree with what I'm saying right now. Yeah, definitely. So then, okay, they goes up there, they come back and give a reply to what I've just said, and let's hear the feedback from the public for them to say, you know what they're saying is true, that is really not as bad as I'm saying right now, or they are not telling the truth, and what the public says is right, is correct and true.
And the thing is, I mean, as you're sharing that, I believe you're also saying it's not just what the public's use and access to, but the workers, as you emphasize, they're there, day in and day out for hours on end. What impact is that having on them?
Yeah, that's a very good question, a very good point. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And I mean, MP Chris Saunders had publicly, commented that this is a $1 billion or a $2 billion project, whatever. I think he said 1.9 billion, some large sum. There are those who question whether waste energy actually consumes more energy to work than it actually produces, or that the financial cost to it, or whatever it is. And I'm wondering if, again, as a country, we're invested in this for the right reasons, or is it, as alleged in many jurisdictions, the projects of government are only benefiting those then and there, and it really just saddles that country with the debt for that particular project. Are we doing things the right way for the right reasons at the right time?
Well, yes, that's another point of view right there too. But the fact remains right now, as I would look at it, Mr. Sterling, it's not about the financial matter right now. It's about the hazard that it creates, that it is right now, health-wise, and it's not only going for for the individuals who works there, which is very important likewise, but it also goes for the entire public.
Okay. So let me ask you to help us to see and appreciate exactly what you're sharing. For those of us who do not, for whatever reason, go there, you just went. Access to it is off Seymour Drive. We call it a dump road. You drive all the way in, and then there's that access point, so you can go and dump the stuff that you take there, right? Mm-hmm. And you've, again, I'm going to invite you to describe what you saw. Then there's a new road, the J. Borden Highway, I think it's called now, the airport connected that was before, between the bypass into Industrial Park area. Wonderful paved road when you look towards the dump. It's nice, the capped and grassed and looks decent, right? Mm-hmm. So which side, is it that the public is seeing that, aesthetically pleasing, somewhat, grassed off area from that new road? Or is it the reality of what you experienced as you just left there?
Yeah, it's not on the new road. It's the regular new bypass that we did, the Camana Bay area, the Camana bypass right here.
Right.
That's where that's the most affected area right now. Mm-hmm. And then we have just pretty up one side where we have a new road, as you just mentioned. But then what about the effect that continues day in and day out on the area here which we drive, Camana Bay Drive? Mm-hmm. What about that?
Right.
When is that problem going to fix? When this part of it is going to be fixed? And as I said, we've been dealing with this matter for quite some years now, and we can't come to a final decision. Okay. How informed are we in regard to what is actually taking place right now?
But it's you are sharing something that you've experienced right now. But how do we address it? Back to my initial question, what do we do to address it?
Well, as I said, the public has to be the people who is claiming or who is calling out to the government to get this fixed as soon as possible. And then getting back to the financial part about it, we pretty much have money to do a lot of things which pretty much sometimes is unnecessary. And the things then that we should look at or look into and get done, those are the things we can't find money for.
Right. But I mean, to your point, is that the perception that we have this money, or is it then that we don't? So as an example, the opposition, the PPM, put out press releases. They're asking the government, relative to its intended borrowings and new debts and we may be taking on, and comparing it to the administration. Is it then that the political landscape is one where, because of the party system that we've adopted, are we positioning the government and weighting the opposition in such a way that they got to look good in order to displace the government of the day? Is it politics, and is it that we don't really have the money, or is it that we do, but as you have alleged, it's not being prioritized on the things that are important and urgent and necessary?
Well, I think most important. I think most of all, not important. I think most of all is politics. That's what it is. Because some things get done, something doesn't. And as you just said a while ago, I'm repeating myself once again. As you have just said it, I think it's more politics than anything else. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. The way how I would structure that business, right, or the dump situation here right now, as is, because as I've said, I don't know how far off are we in regard to coming to a final decision with whomever they have a contract with, or I'm not certain. I don't know exactly where we stand today in regard to all that has been talked about over the years. But the dumpster would have to be the driveway would definitely has to get fixed somehow. And as I said, this is what I'm saying would be based on whatever is in the making. As I said, we don't know exactly what it is, but the drive going up to the higher level definitely has to get fixed. They would have to organize more dumpster and just get the place organized much better than what it is. And to have all of this dust on more than dust, I would probably say. You know, the scent itself coming right into Georgetown and the drive that we have to take from town to West Bay or wherever it may be, you know, something has to get better somehow.
All right. Hopefully.
It's quite a wait. It's quite a long time.
Yeah.
Quite a long time.
Well, I hope that you share now.
And sorry, Mr. Sterling. And this doesn't have to. It shouldn't be a political ball. You know, it shouldn't be a political ball where we're throwing it from one hand to the other. Okay, let's see who's going to get the ball. Let's see how long he's going to hold it, and before he throw it back to the other person, and before something get done. You know, it shouldn't be that way. It should be looking about the best interest of the country and of the people. That's what is that should be the aim.
Definitely. As everything now, we should put the country's, you know, interests first and center.
At heart. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
And I think that's what your call is about, for us to recognize, because some of us, we don't know. We don't go there. We've probably never been. Chances are we probably never will, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought it. Maybe there is a way to address that makes their well-being that much better and safer for them working environment. You know?
Exactly. And you know something, while you just said those last few words there, Mr. Sterling, it came to my mind. What about the who is it? Which office administer the dump? Health the DEH.
DEH, yeah.
Yeah, they are in charge of that, right? Something just came to my mind. You know, there are certain things that I cannot do in my yard. There are certain things that you cannot do either in your yard because of the department will come on you and obligate you to do certain things or not to do it because of health hazard. So my question is this. Certainly those people who is in charge go down there every day. How could they support, or how could they look at the situation there and just be so content with what it is? That's another good question. How could they, who are in charge, look at that situation every single day and is completely satisfied with it and do nothing about it? Yeah, really and truly. I would really love to hear some answers to that. And if anybody's hearing from that department, I would really love to hear the answer that particular question.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you sharing. Anything else you want to share with us?
Well, I'll tell you what, nothing else for now. There's a lot that I would probably want to share, but the time is limited, Sterling. But I appreciate that. And, you know, today's Friday.
Today is Friday.
I hate to be in town on Friday at this hour of the day or a little bit earlier because you know what it is. Traffic jam. You never get anything much done. And that's my situation here today. That's what happened to me
all right.
today.
I hope you get it done, man. Thanks again, all right?
But I appreciate you taking my call, and I hope we can get something done about this.
Me too. And thank you for taking time to call, and I hope you get something done. You know, good.
Yes,
all right.
It.
All the best.
Have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye. You too. Okay, bye-bye.
We take one more call. You're welcome. Thanks for calling. Oh, break. He says call, break, call. We're going to take a break, and then we'll take the call. Stay tuned.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymanational.com today.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments April 29th to May 5th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you are seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 949-9020. From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers of planned works on Frank Sound Road North Side on Friday, 3rd May. The work will begin at 8 a.m. and last until 3 p.m. Road crews will be on site to divert traffic, and customers in the area will experience no service interruptions over the duration of this planned works. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its water infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. It is open line as we go to the phones. Thanks for calling. Welcome.
Hey, Sterling. Dominic Ebanks here. How you doing?
Always good to hear from you, Dominic. How are you today?
I always say, any better I couldn't stand it. I'm enjoying every day. Every day is a good day.
Every day, indeed.
I know we were talking a bit about the environmental health department, I guess, where we're following and talking about a dump, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not here to represent them. I put sure they got their own representatives, and they do a good job. I certainly would like to say that the environmental health department does a very good job here in Cayman. I'm quite sure they could use a bit more resources and finances and things to get better. I mean, when you look at garbage collection, when it only happens once a week, right, for residential, even though you pay for it up front based on consumption. Obviously that's not really a good thing necessarily, because it goes back to the topic you're having about the landfill.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we dump twice a week, maybe it's filling up twice as fast, then I guess, right? Or, just to keep the same consumption at the end of it. I personally, I'll just give my opinion, regarding the deal that government is trying to make with the landfill. And, $2 billion or $4 billion sound good, but nowadays that's not even chump change for certain places and people, right? And for the landfill to be turned over, even to the private sector, it won't be a good idea for the public. It sounds good when you look at it because what's going to happen, right? But when you start to find yourselves involved with something being in the hands of the private sector, where it could be simply, modified into a more marketing system, and it works better too because you got to get rid of the trash somewhere. So some external source is going to take it, recycle it, or take your trash, so forth. But when you start to make that happen, it creates other opportunities, right? If I'm looking at it from a viewpoint of an opportunist, I would say, well, sure, let's just go ahead and privatize the landfill, because I could certainly put it under my umbrella and add it to the stocks and share it up, and next thing it's being sold as shares, right? And you have now people, buying shares in the landfill rather in the utility or into the oil or into the water, right? And that's a step that is going in, right? And it's not always a good thing for the consumer, right? Government. I personally grew up seeing a landfill when it was just a hill, right? And now it's a mountain. It looks good sometimes with all the grass on it, when it's not smoking and the dust isn't blowing. That is a responsibility, I guess, then of the health services department and our environmental health department, whoever it is up there that has to take care of it by, not just maintaining the grass to keep going to keep down the dust and whatever else it's being used to do extract whatever gases, but to keep the whole area maintained. I mean, it's like if you went to the hotel and they turned off the sprinkler system, obviously the place not gonna look good to the guests. So you have to invest in making sure that you maintain these other things, because they do have an effect down the line. Because I'm quite sure if you're driving around that dump and the whole thing looks like a big grass hill with some pipes sticking out of it, you probably wouldn't say a thing, right? And if you didn't see the dust and you didn't have the smoke, it wouldn't probably bother people as much. But of course, we know what's under the mat. You just can't sweep the dirt under the mat and think that's the solution.
Right.
Because that bump is going to keep getting bigger. It'd be like a bump in your face. You can't really see what's in there, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger until you somehow, extract it. This solution isn't an easy one, but, and we got options, right? And the option we're taking right now of privatization of it is something that I think should stay in the hands of the government. I think the government should simply just scrap the deal, walk away from it. Right now they're boasting of surpluses in revenue. I'm quite sure they won't be doing it come soon because tourism itself has been really slow. I mean, it'll be great if finance came back and show that they have improved greatly, and at the end of the day, it'll balance things back how it should be. But it's almost a project that, the department of government that is responsible for it, I think I'm a little unclear. I don't sure that I don't think they fall under the statutory, right? They're probably just under the civil service, but whether it had to be a statutory body, and then of course from there on, of course, create its own waste management building and system. It isn't something hard to do, and it might be not done under the current government, because you'll table things to be done, and before you know it, you don't have your job anymore. Somebody else has it, but hopefully it's an idea that once it's started can be completed. At the end of the day, it's something that's owned by the people.
Yeah, man.
I'm not gonna elaborate on it too long, but that's my take on it.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
I don't really have a problem other than the bad days, and of course that caller, obviously he sounded like he was from SP because he was dying to get out of town. So we love Georgetown. We come here and work, and we certainly share or wonderful times here.
Yeah.
But again, it is something that is on the border of pretty much the West and the Georgetown districts. So, I think the person, let's just retract that back. The biggest impact, obviously, probably not even to us, the people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest impact is obviously to our investors that are here, right? The ones that are putting down big buildings, and they have a use for this. Once they get this in their hands and add this to their portfolio under their umbrella, it just that little money that they talk about, 2 or 4 million, that is amplified. That turns into 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 100 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And we will never get none of it, and neither will our government, but we will be paying into it, right?
Yeah.
So and at their mercy too, and we can already see this happening when it comes to electricity.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it when it comes to other utility areas. We have an off-rig department that they do a wonderful job. I mean, people may criticize them, but I think they do a wonderful job in trying to monitor what goes on, the activities. Obviously there's opposition within that organization as well that are in there fighting for these people too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though it might not appear that way sometimes, but it is happening. And at the end of the day, they have to find some balance between both parties. But of course, you have to put the people first.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, some changes need to be made in some other areas. But again, that is just my take on it. Sterling, I have to hold up and give someone else the opportunity to call. And hopefully God's willing next week we'll be back on there again.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing that. Have a good weekend, all right?
You too.
All right. Well, with that, I think we can take one final call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling.
And
we don't
you
have much time now.
Take your time, sir. How are you today?
Yeah, it was wonderful to hear that. Just fine, thank you. That gentleman a while ago explaining something. Several years ago, a well-known Caymanian doctor said to me, Mickey, we're becoming ungrateful and complaining people. Unthankful and complaining. And I can see and hear that. I understand people's consternation about the dump. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did a few years ago. And it takes time, and we have a lot of dust and marl here. It takes time to get things done properly. My idea from a long time ago, I suggested it, is put a landfill or dump in each district and district at district level. Anyway, we've got what we've got. We've got to deal with it. It's going along quite well. There are big glitches. Anyhow, that's not really why I called. Earlier on, your talk was with two ladies and wonderful, their ideas about emancipation, their thing. As I said to you before, it was 10 months after the actual abolition of slavery. That document was written by the British governor of Jamaica, Lord Sligo. His real name was Peter Brown Ho. And brought here by him himself, he spent a day here. It was read out today. Should have been the first day and a day of celebration also. It was read out on the 3rd of May, 1835, or what is now the museum. It was a courthouse. I think it was built in 1828. I could be wrong about that. But it was used for government meetings because it could afford the bicameral system of government that we had, with the elected meeting in the lower room and appointed the magistrates in the upper room. It had 2 floors. It has 2 floors. Mm-hmm. The second time it was read out was on May the 5th, 1835 in Bawden Town. I wanted to ask them where it was read out in Bawden Town. Anyhow, that is not so important right now. I'm sure Miss Mary and the rest can easily tell us about that. And then on May the 6th, 1835, May the 6th, several people have asked me if they've decided to make my birthday a holiday, but it's just a coincidence anyhow. But why did Governor Sligo wait 10 months? As I said to you, he was ordered to do so by the British government to write that document because the apprenticeship system, as it was trying to be applied, was not working here with the 985 slaves. And that's why he wrote the document, and that's why it says those who have become apprentice laborers. Because they were freed, and I knew that they were freed. But the slave owners have started to get their compensation from the British government. The British government paid out £20 million in compensation to every slave owner in every colony. That's billions and billions of pounds in today's money, right around the world they stretched at the time. So it was written for them. Long Celia belonged to one of my great uncles, Thomas Noah's Eden. And he could have stopped the sentence or the court's trial of her if he had chosen to. Obviously, he didn't choose to. And it was held in his father's house on the second floor, the dining room of the old St. James House. Castle at Pedro, we call it Pedro Castle. So there are a lot of things that we don't want to talk about. My mother told them about the names of two other slaves who had stayed on with the Eden family until their death, and they died very old. Her father told her a lot about them, because he was born in 1855. And also her grandfather, Joseph Eden, who died at a very, very old age, and also about them. And she did give it the information to the government when she was out there with them for 2 months when they were decided to buy the place, the 7.5 acre portion of the 335 acre plantation. And she did tell them where they were, and she told me on her last visit out there, which was in early 2002. So, where they were and so forth. She was happy to see the place of how they restored it and what they did and so forth. So she had seen it before. But I've forgotten the name of one of the other slaves. One was Dan. I have it somewhere in all my records I have on notes I have from my mother. But that could become important also. And I wish to have marked those things. I believe that we might get them marked now. I'm not going to say any more. You know where I work here. I believe we might get them marked, those graves. And just to say that document the British government had ordered the British Governor Lord Sligo to write that document and bring it here, because he was against freeing the slaves, and he says so himself here. So he was ordered. That's why he waited 10 months. He wouldn't have written it if he hadn't been ordered to do so by the British government. I will not believe otherwise. And he says so in the document. I'm commanded to write it, and it starts out at the beginning about the whole thing. So that is how it really went, and the apprenticeship system was ended. And whether some people say it did not begin or it was ended right, but it was ended then, and it was not in place as it was in other of the big colonies and so forth. So, but the actual abolition, as we all know or should know, was at the stroke of midnight, July the 31st, 1834. That's why they say the 1st of August. 1st of August. And I really wish people would stop saying 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. It is 12 midnight and 12 noon. That's the proper thing, because p.m. is post-meridian, which is a minute or a second after the 12 o'clock. And the 12 a.m. is the same thing, ante-meridian. 12 noon for the 12. It's just I don't understand why we do that, but we have done it over the years and so forth. And like we call children kids, and with the calling and the titling and respect to people as you had on, Mr. Real Robert, people now look at me and they say pops and dads and stuff like that. In the older days in Cayman, they would have been saying sir, which is what I did. And this has come from foreign people coming here. I know what I'm saying. I don't like it, and I wish people would not say that to me. If you know me very well, that's a difference. people well acquainted with me. But when some stranger sees me and I'm walking and they're opening a door or just saying, and say, hey, Pops, I don't like that. I don't appreciate it. And I don't care which other elderly Caymanian appreciate it. I don't.
Yes, sir.
I don't want people to call me. Just don't say anything to me at all.
Yes, sir.
If you can't say hello, sir,
don't say
anything.
Yes, sir.
Don't say anything. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and let's hope people will come out for the celebration.
Thank you too much, Mr. Mickey. Have a wonderful weekend too, sir. And, as Mr. Mickey reminds us, it's important to remember to respect begets respect, and we need to be respectable and respectful, and we need to ensure that thing that was very much a part of our ethos isn't being replaced in such a way that we devalue our own, and that we let them to be so divided, and that we no longer appreciate the importance of who we are. Well, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot that I could share, but I perhaps sometimes may be better inclined to listen to that in a still voice. And just invite you to have a next weekend. God's willing, on Monday we'll be a part of it. We've got a few things in store as we ask you to be a part of it. Now, Monday is a holiday, so we'll be back here on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-606